Welcome back to Open, everyone. South Bronx Unite is a coalition of organizations, residents, and allies working together to protect and improve the South Bronx. Most recently, they will be presenting the legacy of the Young Lords and the Black Panther Party. And well, they're here now to share more about the environmental justice work they've been doing for the community. Please welcome from South Bronx Unite, Michael Johnson. Hello.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for the work that you do. And thank you for making it your mission to preserve our air.
Well, it's our responsibility for our children. They have a better future than we had. And I think, as we were discussing earlier about recreation, but also education and arts and how they all pretty much are in succinct with increasing quality of life for our residents and our communities. And I think it's our responsibility, all of our responsibility.
I was visiting your website, and I love that the organization itself holds these gatherings, and the gatherings, they serve a purpose. They're not just gatherings for the sake of gathering. And the fact that you actually do it on the waterfront that we actually, of course, I identify myself as we because it's here in the Bronx. I mean, it's your particular specific area in the Bronx. But the fact that there is an issue post-Sandy and the waste system that is close to the water. And so I'm just curious to know, how far have you come along since?
Oh, wow. We've been advocating for, first of all, access to that waterfront because we have 90,000 people living in Mount Haven and Port Morris have no access to the waters that surrounds us, right? But what do surrounds us is waste transfer stations, fossil fuel power plants. And so what we're trying to do is let's create green space along that peninsula so we can create a healthier outcome. And hopefully we can mitigate some of the traffic problems we have in our community. I mean, we have 5 bridges coming into the Mount Haven Port Morris neighborhood, and we have 2 highways circling the community, Bruckner and Adegan. And so it's really a really bad soup of toxic fumes, and we need to do better, and we're working with other organizations and coalitions to make that happen. I mean, we were talking about parks. We have some of the least quantity of green space per capita in our community than anywhere else in the city, even though the Bronx has the largest parks.
Well, yes, I was going to say the Bronx is the borough of the parks.
It is. It is.
What I find interesting is that you started out small, and now you have all of these organizations involved. Just tell me how this all came about.
I think it's pretty logical that people need to breathe fresh air in order to go to work, in order to go to school. Our children need better futures since 1 in 4 have asthma. That's a terrible situation that exists, and everyone knows that it exists. And so getting coalition people or people like-minded and consciousness to get on board and helping advocate and fighting for a better future wasn't really hard.
Right, and which brings me to Universes, who is actually going to be presenting this wonderful show called Party People. And I know that it depicts on an era with the Black Panthers and the Young Lords. And in some form, there's a movement going on here. So it totally loans itself to the messaging that you're actually presenting. So Universes is one of the organizations. I read so many organizations that I would love for you to share how you're all coming together and how there's a building that happens to be abandoned and just the whole revitalization and the new Bronx that is in development by the people.
Right.
By the people.
Right. What we see is a real serious issue happening, right? We've dealt with environmental injustice for decades, and now we see a potential of hyper real estate speculation that's potentially can displace long-time existing residents. So when we see a public space like the old Lincoln Recovery Center on 140th Street that's been sitting vacant or abandoned for 4 years, we're looking as community members, what can 28,000 square feet do to provide a healthier outcome to our community, right? In the form of arts, health, education. And there's a lot that we need, right? We have poor performing schools, so we can do after school programs. We have the most unhealthy county of all of the New York State counties. So how can we create better outcomes starting from birth, right? So we have one organization called the Birthing Project to help with, the vital start of our lives, right? Our community's lives from birth. And so we also have Upbeat NYC, another organization that's doing have a 150-person orchestra of all children, teaching them the variety of music, and they don't have a place or a space.
They don't have a home. They don't have a home. They don't have a home base.
No, they're working out of 2 libraries. They're working out of 2 churches and the Mount Haven Port Morris Library. So That's something we see as vital that needs to have a space, and that space is sitting there. So we came together, and Universes was fortunate enough to come and do a sneak peek of their performance in our community to give us an idea of what the history of the Young Lords and the Black Panther and what it really means to today. Because all the organizations that are doing fabulous work like Mothers on the Move, Community Connections for Youth, The Point, CDC, a lot of different organizations doing wonderful work are offshoots of what happened during the Panthers and the Young Lords, who actually were community members saying we're going to create the change we're looking for.
And it's beautiful. It's being done through the arts, and it's being done in musical fashion. We're looking at a sneak peek right now. I see Mildred and
Stephen.
And Stephen Sapp. I go way back with them as well. Point CDC. I'm also a Point CDC girl. Also part of this movement. So this is. I was very delighted to read what I read on the unification that's happening and just the movement that's happening. Not geared towards any particular organizations or companies, just geared towards
the community.
Our government to actually pay attention to the community that votes for them.
Exactly. You know, how can a building sit vacant and needing a great deal of repair because it was left unattended, and the community needs so much? So we're looking at logical solutions to our own problems. And like the creation of green space in our peninsula, this building is a logical solution to some of the woes that this community has been dealt or dealing with for decades. And so let's work together on creating a better solution. We need our elected officials. We've been fortunate to have some really in our corner, and we need more. So, coalition building and strength to make this happen for this neighborhood that's suffered way too much for way too long.
And so, just in obviously sharing with our viewers the importance of getting involved, right? Because we could sit here, we could talk, and you and I, and while there's a coalition, there's organizations, that's great, but everybody counts. Everybody. The same way we're saying everybody counts in the voting situation this year. It's really important that everybody get out there and vote. This is also a matter that requires more people. The more we get involved, the bigger difference we can make.
That's right. More people and more organizations or even institutions such as Lehman College, Ostos Community College, Lincoln Hospital, Montefiore. We have a lot of institutions in the Bronx that are doing great things. How can we come together and make sure this happens for this Mott Haven, Port Morris neighborhood?
Nice. So do you have any last words for our viewers, Michael?
That we need help. We need help to make sure that this is reality. It's a dream, but we have to dream. If we don't see any future, or we don't walk forward. So we're trying to come together. We need assistance. And for all the viewers who are listening today, if you have any ideas about what you're doing or who you know and how we can bring this and make this happen, we need your help too.
Right, and again, just reiterating what you mentioned, it's like we're talking about from birth to development.
That's right.
And that's the beauty right there. It's all in one building.
It is.
I love that. Thank you.
Thank you,
Michael.
Thank you for having me.
All right, once again, the South Bronx Unite is, their website is southbronxunite.com.
.org.
I'm sorry, it's southbronxunite.org, southbronxunite.org, and there's going to be an event. When is Universes going to be presenting the sneak peek?
They did already.
Oh, they
last
did already.
Saturday, we had a great event last Saturday. That's what that footage is from.
Okay.
But they're doing more at the Public Theater.
Right.
And so look them up. They're probably from November 1st through December 11th. It's an incredible show. It activates your soul. And I think we should all go check them out and be supportive of what they've done.
Thank you for saying that. We love Universes. And of course, you can always see more, once again, by going to southbronxunite.org. We are taking a break, but don't go anywhere. There's more open coming up.